So we're doing the recording. We're getting Morgan ready for the breakout rooms.
So quiet in here, David.
I know. The early birds are silent.
They're not chirping.
Silent.
Hi, Mike. You're on camera. You're on Do It Marketing camera.
That's it. That is it. So let me just shoot another.
Early in the morning.
Oh, what time is it there?
Approaching 9 o'clock.
Oh, got it. Scott says chirp, chirp.
All right. Excellent. So we started the recording. Teresa's here. Morgan's here. Breakout rooms will be happening. Fantastic. I also got, I'm going to hijack someone's question. Erin asked a fantastic question, and I'm going to hijack Erin's question for our little riff, our little weekly gems of wisdom, which I think is really, really important to the sales process, really important to your revenue generating mindset, skill set, all of those things. And it was about asking, when you're doing a presentation and then you invite people to a follow-up conversation with you, either for doing a corporate program or some sort of follow-up or some sort of private coaching, executive coaching, consulting, whatever it may be that you're offering them. She says, well, I feel kind of, I'm paraphrasing, so Erin can correct me when she hops in here. I feel a little bit slimy, almost like a bait and switch, because if it's really a, and you can call it lots of things. You can call it a breakthrough session, a strategy session, a consultation, a free consultation, a conversation about how you can follow up and implement some of the ideas that we talked about today in your business, in your company, in your department, in your group. She says, how do I pivot from that into a sales conversation? So I'm going to go zen on you here, and I'm going to tell you that there is no pivot. The entire conversation is about them and what they want and what they need and why they booked the call and what they heard you say on stage that stimulated them to book a call with you. And everything comes from a place of serving and helping. Now, Teresa knows this. I know this. All you guys know this, because sometimes, not always, but sometimes the best way to serve and help a client is to get them into your freaking program. Do the executive coaching, do that team building retreat, do that on-site workshop. And so are you selling them or are you helping them? Yes, and yes. But you're not selling from a place of push. You're selling from a place of pull. You're selling them. And this is so vitally important, because when you get in module 6, you'll see some scripting, you'll see some questioning strategies, all kinds of things. If your genuine intent is to sell them, to get them to give you money, to get them to hire you, that call is going to go sideways, and it's going to go sideways fast. It is not going to be an authentic conversation. You will feel slimy. You will feel pushy. You will feel salesy. You will feel gross. I don't know about you, but none of us like to feel pushy, salesy, or gross. However, take the same script, take the same questions, take the same conversation that you're going to have in that 20-minute follow-up after someone hears you speak, do a keynote, do a seminar, do a workshop, even a breakout session, free program, whatever it is, and say, hey, if you'd like to have a quick 20-minute conversation with me about how you can take these ideas further in your career, in your company, with your sales, with your leadership, with your project management, with your entrepreneurship, I'd be happy to have a conversation with you. I specifically, when I speak and when I do programs, I specifically say is a no BS. It is a no BS conversation. Now, notice I'm not saying it's not a sales conversation. I'm not saying it's a non-selling conversation. Some people will teach that. They say, oh, this is a non-selling conversation. I would never want to sell you anything because God forbid I help you. God forbid we do some transformation inside your company. God forbid that we fix your leadership. God forbid that your projects now start to work well. I don't want to do that. I don't want to sell you anything. I just want to talk. And then we talk. And then they need you desperately, urgently, in every possible way, shape, or form. There's all kinds of signs going, we need help. We need Mike. We need Tweed. We need Mark. We need Fred. We need Robin. We need everybody in here. Gosh, now what do I do? Now I have to pivot that conversation. I promised them I wouldn't sell. I promised myself. Here's what's even worse. I promised myself I wouldn't sell. And now it's like, oh, there's an opening. There's an opening to help them. Damn it. What do I do? Well, I guess I'll be polite. I guess I'll be nice. I guess I'll be friendly. I guess I won't sell them anything. And we'll just leave this call friends. We'll just, they'll call me when they need me. They'll definitely remember me. Here, watch this. Visual aids, guys. Visual aids, right? I got cards. So because they gave me their card and now they have my card, I just know that if they're a serious buyer, they'll remember me fondly because of that non-selling 20-minute conversation, and they will just call me. So let's see. Did Matt ever call me? No. Did Kathleen ever call me? No. Did Carl ever call me? No. Did James ever call me? Nope. And did Kaplan Mowbray III, who's a fantastic speaker, by the way, did he ever call me? No. Did we invite them to a conversation on how we can help them? Yeah. Did some of those end in yeses and some of those end in nos? Yeah. So here's your litmus test for when and how to pivot that. By the way, everyone should be doing this. If you are ever on stage in front of anything more than like your dog or your cat or your spouse or your significant other, ever out there doing that, then you need to say, hey, if you'd like a 20-minute conversation with me about implementing some of the ideas that we talked about today, write free 20 on the back of your business card, bring that up to me, and we will book a time, and we'll see how you can implement some of these ideas. If you're not doing that, you're leaving major money on the table. When you do that, it is a deep dive, client-centric conversation that's 100% about them, their goals, what they're up against, their problems, their frustrations, their challenges, where they see an application for what you do, what they took out of your program, what do they wish, what do they want, what do they need? And you can jot those down. Those three things are really important. So looking at your leadership, looking at your project management, looking at your EAP program, what do you wish were happening? Or what do you wish you had in your toolkit that you don't have now? So all the what do you wish questions. How do you wish your people were different? How do you wish your projects were different? How do you wish your employee engagement and your corporate culture were different? How do you wish anything that you guys are already brilliant at talking about, how do you wish that was different? Second set of questions, want. What do you want to see happen? What are the initiatives that you want to work on? What are the top priorities that you want to make happen this year? What does your CEO want? What does your division manager want? What are they looking to you to implement or create or change or improve? Right? Third question, third area of questioning, what do you need? What do you need to happen with your project management for things to get better? What do you need to happen for this training to be a true success? What do you need to install in the brains of every project manager that works here so that their projects don't go off the rails and don't go over time and over budget? What do you need with this, that, and the other thing? Once you have a 20-minute conversation about what do they wish, what do they want, what do they need, oh, it's so salesy. Oh, it's already so pushy. Oh, my goodness, I can't believe how arrogant and pushy. This was a total bait and switch. You said that we'd be talking about me and my company and my leaders and my sales and my projects and my team. gosh, what have we done for 20 minutes? We've talked about my projects, my team, my leadership, my company, my culture, my engagement. Once you have that kind of conversation, I remember having specifically one of our alumni from here, I had a conversation with him, and here was my closing line. This is so tricky. This is so advanced. I hope you guys are sitting down. This was our friend Skip Weissman, Teresa, just so you know. I said, Skip, I got to tell you right here, this is what we do all day for our clients. This is what we do all day. Everything that you listed, this is what we do all day. I just said that, period. And I didn't say, buy the program. Hey, do you want to enroll? Hey, shall I take the sales hammer out from behind my back? I'm hiding it. I'm hiding it behind my back. Look, guys, there's a sales hammer. I'm going to pull it out, and I'm going to bonk you on the head until you buy something from me. No. I said, dude, this is what we do all day. Would you like to talk about how we might be of service to you? Yeah, David, that would be great. Yes, please. So everyone out there is sick. When it comes to your topic, they are sick. They are coughing and hacking and feeling terrible and monster headache and pain in their chest, and all of these things are wrong. You're the doctor. You've got the medicine. You've got the antidote. You've got the cure. And what Erin's question, the premise of Erin's question is, well, last thing I want to do is give these guys the medicine. Last thing I want to do is help these people. The last thing I want to do is cure them and solve these urgent, pervasive, expensive problems. So I better not tell them what I do. I better not tell them how our methodology, training, and tools can totally move the needle on these results. I better not invite them to a conversation about how we might work together in small, medium, large, or super size, right? Someone's hungry. They walk into your restaurant. You're not going to give them a menu. When someone books a 20-minute follow-up conversation with you, they have walked into your restaurant, and you're saying, well, have a seat, and here's a glass of water. And they're starving. Here's a glass of water. Could I maybe get a sandwich? No. I promised you no sandwiches. I promised you no peanuts, no olives, no steak, no chicken, no pasta, no salads, no appetizers, because I don't want to weigh you down with those things. They're hungry, folks. They are hungry. So after the speech, after the seminar, after the workshop, well, first of all, let me ask this. I'm making a big assumption here. And maybe when you guys pop in with Teresa in the breakout room today, maybe you can break this down. Does anybody feel that their aftercare program, after someone hears you speak, after hearing the keynote, the seminar, the 2-day training, the 3-day training, after doing that, the stuff that you would offer them afterwards is just totally awful? It just sucks. It doesn't work. It never helps anybody. Show of hands, anyone feel that way, that your program is useless, piece of crap that no one's going to profit from or benefit from? Just me. Okay. Well, so even I'm able to overcome. Of course not, right? What you do for your clients is amazing, incredible, and transformational. You have to get in touch with that during every single sales conversation. And it's not from a place of need. It's not from a place of desperation. It really is from a place of, let me listen very deeply and very closely to what they've just said during that free 20-minute aftercare conversation. If I can help them, I should probably take out the menu, right? If they're hungry, I take out the menu. If I realize that they're totally buttoned down, that they've got everything dialed in perfectly, they've got no pains, problems, heartaches, gaps, challenges whatsoever that I can fix, then I might not pull out the menu. If there's other things that they might need that I don't do, I can refer them. I can refer them to someone fabulous. If I'm a leadership speaker and all they're talking about is their sales VP who came to my leadership program, all they're talking about is their salespeople's challenges. But I'm not a sales trainer. I'm a leadership guy, and I work with sales and marketing executives. I would say to them, you know what? It sounds like you have all this leadership stuff dialed in. There's nothing that you told me in the last 20 minutes that I would change. I think you have this right. I think what you might need is some sales training. Has that thought crossed your mind? Well, yeah, we've done some. Well, And so what was wrong with those programs? Well, what didn't last and it didn't stick. Well, let me connect you with a fantastic sales expert and sales speaker who I know and I trust. And would it be okay if I set up a 3-way email introducing the two of you and seeing if he or she can help you? Wow, so pushy, so salesy. But if there is something there for you, right, why would you withhold the medicine? Why would you withhold the cure? And all I'm saying is this is 100%, 110% dependent on the mindset with which you take that call. When they call you and your number one priority is to listen and be of service and be helpful, not to sell, not to pitch, not to even secretly pitch, not to do anything other than deeply listen, radical level of listening for what they're up against, what their problems are, what they're complaining about. Even if they don't buy, I'll tell you why this approach is so valuable. Even if they don't buy, guess what you're doing? You're building your marketing language bank, right? You're listening deeply for the exact words and phrases that they are using to complain. What do they wish? What do they want? What do they need? Imagine if you had X-ray vision into a typical prospect and you had like a report card from that X-ray vision. Well, here's the 5 things they wish. Here's the 3 things they want. And here's the 6 things they really need. Well, gosh, I do 4 of the first thing. I do 2 of the middle things. And I do almost all of that last category. Wouldn't I want to tell them that, hey, this is what I do all day? This is what our company's all about. This is exactly how I help all of our clients. In fact, many of our clients just came in because they heard me speak at the kind of workshop that you were in. They hire us because they want to take what we talked about for an hour and they want to implement it on an ongoing basis, right? This is where you use the magic words: repetition, reinforcement, application. The speech is never enough. The workshop is never enough. So what are you doing with your mindset that is holding you back from having those kinds of conversations every single time that you get up to speak? The answer should be nothing. I love helping people. I love serving people. I love listening and collecting my marketing language bank so that it's always being sharpened. It's always being made more accurate, more on point, more up to date, more specific, more visceral, more emotional, so you can have more of those 6 o'clock head in the hands at the bar conversations that we talk about in the training. When you've mastered that, 2 things will happen. You'll become a much more effective marketer because your languaging and your messaging is now totally in sync and totally on point and totally resonates with most of the buyers that you're going to talk to. And I hate to say it, you're going to sell some stuff. Not because you're pushing, but because they want to now buy. They want to buy. And we talk about this all the time. We talk about running that 20-minute free consultation call in a way that they are hungry for more, right? Where you've stimulated their appetite, just like when they walk into a restaurant and say, hey, here's some water. Well, man, you give me a glass of water, I'll be even I was hungry when I walked in, by the way, but now I'm starving. I'd love that burger. I'd love that buffalo chicken salad. I would love that super duper big giant steak that you have on the menu. Small, medium, large, super size. So to Erin's question, and I think she's still not here, but man, will she enjoy this recording. That is how you pivot, meaning that you don't pivot, that the entire conversation is about how you can help them, how you can serve them, how you can help them move the needle on the results that they want to move, that they need to move, and then you're simply whetting their appetite for more, better, deeper. Because remember the three dials that you have on your content. The 3 dials that you have on your content from keynote to year-long consulting program is depth, duration, and detail. Depth, duration, and detail with a keynote, 1-hour speech, 2-hour breakout, whatever it is. Depth, duration, and detail are set at minimum. They're minimum. You're not going to solve anyone's problem in a keynote. You're not going to solve anyone's problem during a workshop. You're not going to solve anyone's problem during a 1-day seminar. But once they realize, oh my gosh, how far down does this rabbit hole go? and there's more depth and duration and detail to actually solve this problem once and solve this problem right. And that's your value prop, by the way. You guys are going to go in, you're going to solve this problem once, you're going to solve this problem right. It's not going to be another flavor of the month training. It's not going to be another, flash in the pan, good idea of the moment that they then just immediately discard and throw that in the rubbish bin with all the other training and speakers and consultants and coaches they brought in. We're talking about permanent, lasting capabilities and competencies that they don't have before you walk in the building, and then permanent capabilities and competencies that they do have after that intervention that you're doing, which could be small, medium, large, or supersize. Now, the script, the questions, if you come in with the wrong come from, right, the wrong perspective, the wrong mindset, it will sound like a cheesy, terrible sales conversation. They will do everything they can to get off the phone with you as soon as humanly possible. Same script, same words, same language, with a come from of authentically wanting to help and serve them. Because the definition of a trusted advisor, by the way, trusted advisor is simple. Trusted advisor keeps the interest of the client above his or her own self-interest.
Yep.
If I can help you, I will let you know. And if I can't, I will let you know that too. Maybe it's a referral. Maybe it's a book. Maybe it's a video that I have for you that's free. Hey, you know what? Just watch this video. You don't need my whole $74,000 program. Watch this video. I think that'll answer that question for you once and for all. And then you let them off the call because they're not really a prospect, right? What's the definition of a prospect? They've got the problem, they've got the urgency, and they've got the budget. Any one of these three things, once you establish they really don't have that problem, they have that problem, but it's kind of a low-grade fever. They're not feeling that sick yet. It's not a big deal. It's not worth any kind of investment. So, that's not really urgency. Or they go, oh my God, I'm bleeding from the neck. This is a huge problem. We totally have to fix this urgently. But you know what? We're at the end of our budget cycle. I wish I could, but I can't. Or they're not high enough in the organization where they can make more budget happen. The beauty of selling high, by the way, is those people they're not necessarily restricted by a budget. They can make the budget. They can reallocate some of the budget to bring you in. Why would they do that? Because the relevance and the urgency are high. When relevance and urgency are high, the money becomes irrelevant. And this is true, by the way, even at the very first thing with the speech, getting a $7,500 gig versus a $1,500 gig. If it's relevant, urgent, this is what our members need. This is what our members want. This is what our members have been wishing for. This is what our members have been complaining about. You need to leave every sales conversation so that the prospect feels they are taking, whether they end up this way or not, it's a bigger risk not to bring you in, and it's a bigger mistake. It's a bigger mistake not to bring you in than it would be to hire you. Hiring you is not only the smart choice, it's the safe choice. Because if they leave that conversation, those problems, those urgent, pervasive, expensive problems go unsolved, unaddressed, they are going to get worse, not better. For any of you guys, I'm just asking rhetorical questions today. Today's a rhetorical question day. Can you think of your area of expertise where a client has a big major problem and just given time, the kind of problem that you solve mostly solves itself? That'll just clear itself up. That's stage 3 cancer. Don't worry about that. That usually clears up on its own. I can't think, I'm looking at all your smiling faces here. I can't think of one of your areas of expertise where the problem that you solve magically fixes itself. Just give it a year. Give it 2 years. I'm sure it'll clear up. All those project management crises that you're having, don't worry about that. All of those people that are opting out of the workforce because they don't know how to come back from leave and reintegrate their whole self back into the business, back into their role. Don't worry, that'll just fix itself. Yeah. All those leadership challenges, all those entrepreneurial challenges, all of those, ethical challenges, all of those other challenges that you have, that generally fixes itself. No, it gets worse. So are you willing to leave them off that call and say, hey, good luck. I hope that stage 3 cancer cures itself. Or would you do everything in your power to offer and invite them to get the help that they want and the help that they need, understanding that you're going to increase now the level of depth, duration, and detail. And you are going to help them take what they heard in the speech, in the breakout, in the keynote, and you're going to say, you know what, if you liked what you heard there, what if this became an always-on perpetual capability inside your company? What if we solved this once and we solved this right, so these problems would never happen again? Oh, you can do that? Yeah, we do that all day long. We do that all day long. All right, so we just answered Erin's question, and thank you, Morgan. She says Erin can't join the call today. So you never know. When you submit these questions ahead of time, I will sometimes pirate your question and turn that into a 20-minute rant, or 26-minute rant in this case. But everyone needs this. Erin asked the question. She gets the credit. Every single one of y'all need this mindset when you're doing those free 20-minute chats after the speech, seminar, keynote program. You will sell more and you will learn more. There's nothing better. I mean, there's nothing better. You will imagine this. It's like, okay, you're getting like an MBA in the topic of prospect. We'll make diplomas for everyone. You now have an MBA degree, an advanced degree in the business of the problem that you solve. And so that's the learning part. You will learn more and you will sell more every single time that you do this. There you go. That's it. So let's do wins and celebrations, and then we will do our breakout. Pop into Teresa's room for the help that you need there. I'll answer the rest of the questions. Hopefully some of you guys that have questions are actually here, unlike Erin. But who's got a quick celebration, win, positive focus, a decision that you've made, some clarity that you've come to, sales conversation that you've had, a booking that came in or is likely to come in? Who's got some good news? Let's go to Ron first. I saw Ron's hand, then I saw Tweed. Just go ahead and type it in the chat box so we can get to you guys in order, but we'll start with Ron.
I booked a $5,500 gig yesterday, which
very, very nice.
You know what? I think I wrote to you in a message that compared to where I'm going to be, that's nothing to write home about, but compared to where I've been, it's a singing telegram. And
I love that assessment. I love that assessment, right? It's little baby steps along the way.
Well, and here's the funny thing, because I was already, this is salt, this is pepper, my fee is $4,500. I was already. And the next thing I know, I'm saying $5,500, and he didn't, plus 2 nights lodging. Do I need to say plus tax, or is tax understood?
So I'm not an accountant, and I don't play one on TV. If you do taxes, I just visited my accountant yesterday, so this is top of mind. If you do taxes by the book, and you're a speaker or a consultant, and you've got clients in this state, that state, the other state, all over the place, it can get very complicated very easily. So generally speaking, any sort of business, unless you're selling a product or something, a service business does not charge tax on top of. So,
really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because that's what you're paying your self-employment tax, you're paying payroll tax, depending on your legal entity, and that just comes out of our pocket as a cost of doing business. So you don't say plus, what you would say is plus travel and expenses.
Okay.
Right? But yeah,
okay.
The tax always kind of falls on us.
And I'll talk about this another time, but I'm sorry, I'm in New Mexico. We have what they call gross receipts tax. I think we're the only state in the nation that does that. So any dollar I come in, I got to pay gross receipts on that. So
got it.
I'll have to do a mind shift on that. But anyway, yeah. a quick question, if I may, before we go on. He reacted so calmly to that. My first reaction is, oh, shoot, I didn't charge enough.
That's right.
How do you know? Do I start with them? What's in your budget?
Well, so here's the beauty of it. So you don't know, and I always talk about this next soundbite. I always say that your fee is not dependent on their budget.
That's right. And
then people go, oh, okay, so I should charge what I want to charge. Now, the flip side of that is, and I've had conversations like this, I will just ask, hey, what's the budget range you were looking to invest? And they're telling me $10,000 to $12,000. I said, well, I have good news. I'm just about to save you $2,500 because my fee is $9,500. So the fee is the fee, salt, pepper, whatever the number is. You say, oh, he could get more. There's a little ethical line there. You know what? Get what you want to get. If you're talking to more and more people that have higher and higher budget, then it's time to raise your fee.
Okay.
And if you're getting more of these easy yeses, it's time to raise your fee. But I wouldn't get greedy, right? So what's the saying that the hungry pig gets fed, the greedy pig gets slaughtered, something like that. I'm not sure it's pig, chicken. I'm not sure what it is. Pick the food of your choice. But yeah, don't worry about that. Worry about, let's do a knockout job. Let's get 3 more just like that. And then we can go to 6,500 or 7,500, or, you'll find your natural level. But don't get tempted into playing with that number, because here's why. When you play with the number going up, and that's okay in your head, you start to play with the number going down, and that also becomes okay in your head. Oh, yeah, let's see what they have. It's never about let's see what they have. It's let's look at your revenue model. Let's look at some nice, beautiful money that you want to make and need to make. Charge that fair market rate. If over time that goes up, that's what it's supposed to do.
Okay. Way good. Thank you. And again, I give credit to you and Teresa. You're getting me thinking more of a fee-worthy entrepreneur. And
that's right. That's right.
Good thing.
I put a Facebook post out last week that was crickets, like nothing, tumbleweed. And what it said was, are you working hard to make money, or are you working hard to make the money that you want? Because there's a gigantic difference. People that charge anything, anytime, anywhere, my fee is dependent on their budget. They might be working hard to make money, but they're not working hard to make the money that they want. You guys are working hard to make the money that you want. And that makes all the difference.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And let's go to Tweed next, and then we'll go to our folks that popped a comment in.
Well, good morning.
Hey there.
I had a conversation over the weekend, and to be brutally honest, it was a friend of mine who's a project manager, and we had a really good conversation, which was kind of eye-opening for me, about speakers and basically selling yourself to other project managers. And he kind of opened my eyes to a few things, and I think I'm getting my feet more firmly rooted as to what this process is. I have learned a ton going through this program, and to me, that was a win, because suddenly, the doors opened a little wider. And the other thing, I was trying to work with my self-journal this weekend, which I got over the weekend, and that's also an eye-opener, because I got in my own head what my revenue model is going to look like. I actually have a plan. I know what I'm going to do. This is not I want to do. I'm going to do this, and I know what I'm going to do. And almost, well, not take out almost. I know what I'm going to do and on what time schedule, where I'm going to go from my $4,500 speeches, because I'm never going to charge a zero number, and learn that too. And then I'm going to jump to like 75, but I'm going to get 6 of these under my belt before I literally take that big leap of faith, because I honestly believe in my own heart I'm worth it. I've been doing this for 10 years and doing it for, like they say, even a blind squirrel finds an acorn every now and then. I'm sick of acorns. So anyway, there's a plan in place. And I just want to thank you and even my counterparts on this call and over the course of this course. This has literally been a life changer for me. And I want to thank y'all for that. So there's organization here, and there's also a plan. And I don't know how many times you've taught this thing, but you don't seem to lose any enthusiasm for what you do. And thank you for that.
So thank you. And you get the credit for doing the work.
Absolutely.
And, you can ask Teresa, you can ask me, we've done this hundreds of times. And the reason that we're so energized about it is because of stories like what we're hearing every week from you guys, from Ron and from Tweed and from Robin and from Christy. And, this is, now we're more enthusiastic than the first 100 or 200 times, because the folks are doing the work and they're getting some amazing results. So it's a self-reinforcing system, but thank you for those kind words as well.
You got it.
All right. So now we're moving, if I'm going in the right order, and I hope I am, I think it's Christy up next.
Yes, absolutely. So just an exciting thing, maybe a little bit different than what you've heard before, but something I think is great. So out of having my AIR conversations, from this program that, talks about that, gives us the confidence to call into people like a 25-year veteran from the home building industry who is very well known in the home building industry. And because of past relationships, I had the words to pick up the phone and call him, and I called him for the AIR conversation. He led me down the path of a different area in home building to focus on, and he's so interested in it that he came back to me and he said, I'd be willing to support you and maybe even, collaborate with you a little bit. And if I can have this person's name as like an endorsement or something along with me, I will open doors where I've never even begun to think that I could open doors. So we just had that phone call this morning. I don't know what it's going to look like, but it could look like an expanded program, but having the ability to say this man's name along with mine will open up so many doors. So
yeah, that's great.
With the work, and I know I take a long time to get things figured out, but finally to having my really a lot more of my language, and I'm really excited about it. And I think we're getting through what the reasons to hire me, but I just even sent that to him for his feedback, and I just sent it to my ideal client who I'm speaking for in June, and I'm asking her to review it. I'm using it with people that I have these really deep long-term relationships with to ask for their feedback. And some of them are marketing managers of Lennar Homes in Portland. So I'm not selling, I'm asking for their feedback, but they're also learning what I'm doing. And I'm getting more of the right language, but it's also opening doors for me that I hadn't really seen before. So thank you.
Absolutely.
That's the magic of AIR.
Yeah, we kind of need it, don't we?
So, but I think the big takeaway for Christy and for everybody is that once you get this language dialed in, it opens up partnerships, sponsorships, collaborators, networking and referral relationships, all kinds, because people want to be part of something important. They want to be part of something that's valuable. They want to be, they want to, it's this significance drive. And so when you say, listen, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z for the home building industry, people go, well, sign me up for that. I'll support you. I want to get behind that. Can I be on stage with you? Can we do a program together? Can we submit a joint program to one of the big industry associations? This is one of the most powerful strategies, by the way. When you go to a big industry association as a lead generating speech, co-presenting with a client or co-presenting with an executive who's even in your client base but might not be a client, that rub-off credibility is gigantic, which is what Christy's talking about. But imagine now doing that on a stage in front of 500, 1,000, 2,000 people, and they go, wow, good enough for him, good enough for me. Good enough for her, good enough for me. And then it's just an amazing, it's almost like an in-person live 90-minute testimonial saying, I'm on stage with this person because I believe in her work, I believe in what she's doing, I believe in her outcomes. And it is a huge door opener, but dialing in the language and giving you the credit for kind of sorting through this and even sending out some rough information in that asking for advice, insights, and recommendations mode, that's going to be the door opener. And then in a sales conversation, that's going to be the game changer that leads to yes.
Well, and it's given me so much more confidence. So finally getting that, and I knew I'd get there. But the other thing, and this is not necessarily a today direct benefit, because I've kind of shown on a smaller scale that I've been able to kind of produce what I initially started with, which is nowhere near what I have now. But my NSA group has asked me to be the dean of the Speakers Academy this next year. So I can't help but learn more. So that's going to be really cool as well. And which, down the road, and I'm not looking at it, but that could be, a profit center as well down, coaching or that sort of thing. Obviously I'd send them your way because you're a lot better at it, but
don't coach speakers. They're all crazy. They're all crazy. All these speakers.
What are you doing? You're coaching us.
No. They're nuts. Trust me. They're nuts. Don't go there. All right.
Yeah,
well done.
Thing.
Well done on all fronts. That is a huge, huge win, and congratulations.
Like I said, it takes me a long time, but I'm getting there. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Let's go to Fred.
Good morning. I had a couple of really good conversations last week, and the conversations really materialized out of the fact that I have really been drilling down and concentrating the focus of what I do. I'm not casting a net out in the ocean. I'm putting lines in the water now. There's specific fish that I'm going after, and I know what bait to put on the line. And because of that clarity, I've been able to engage in two very significant conversations over the last week, and one of them is with a career management consulting firm. I met with the CEO, and during our conversation, I knew her from 35 years ago, and we reconnected through one of her associates. And the conversation we had was so different than I would have had even 2 weeks ago, because I spent my time listening and probing and uncovering her number. Never presented my number once in the conversation. She's developing an executive coaching component to her business, and she has some big clients like Adidas and CVS and whatnot, and can put me in front of some very significant clients. And so we left the conversation with her saying, hey, I think we can do some business together. And I walked away understanding what the pricing structure is for her executive coaching component. So I've got the inside thought track, if you will, on that.
For sure.
So that worked out really well, and I'll be following up with her in another week or 10 days.
Terrific. That's really great, Fred. Congratulations on that.
Thanks. And it's all because I'm thinking in terms, and I love your phrase about they love their numbers, they don't like yours.
Right.
And I'm keeping that top of mind. I had another conversation with a guy that I've known who's in the real estate development business in Chicago. I've known him for, 12 years. And we always have very engaging conversation. And today was the first time I ever had a conversation with him about a specific arena where I work. Because he said, Fred, he says, basically, he said I was a generalist, and he always appreciated the fact that I could do a lot of different things. But, you're talking about this sales component, and it's resonating with me. And that is going to possibly open the door in his industry with some of his contacts. So,
yeah, no, that's really great.
Again, I think drilling down and focusing, and that's been very tough for me, because whenever I'm engaged in conversation, I'm all over the map in my head thinking, well, okay, what can I say that's going to sound attractive to this person, rather than what do I deliver that can benefit this person?
Right.
So thank you.
Yeah, you bet. No, that sounds fantastic. And the soundbite that I share in this regard about generalist versus specialist is that every client and every audience has specific problems, and there's no such thing as a general solution to a specific problem. So even if you can take some of that content, we've talked about this before, and aim it towards the context of a certain area, right, and say, I bring all these different aspects and facets of my background and my expertise and my experience into this specific problem that you guys are telling me about. So I can approach it from the leadership angle, the entrepreneurship angle, the sales angle, the team building angle. There's all kinds of beautiful facets to that jewel, but you're not saying, hey, here's my catalog of stuff. Which one do you want?
Right.
Really, really great. And then Robin is up next.
Well, this is my last week with the program, so my little win is accumulation of everything I've learned from working with you guys, from working with the modules, and the work I've done with Allison. So I just wrote this 15-page document to send to my web designer, and it's going to make him able to transform my website from being all about me to all about the problem that I solve. And I really get that frame of mind. I have great language that Allison helped me formulate to use, and I just totally get it, and I'm so excited that I was able to put that all together and understand why it's important, and it's going to be ready by Wednesday.
Fantastic. Really, really well done. And that's a total shift, right? It might be a 10 or 15% shift in how you talk about what you do, but the perspective, the client perspective on that, they're now going to find your website and they're going to go, holy smokes, she's singing our song. That is exactly what we want. That's exactly what we need. Get her on the phone. Get her in here. That's the difference between having a speaker-centric message versus a audience or a problem-centric message.
Right. And it was so easy to find why this is so important right now. That, things like the Me Too movement, millennials coming into the workforce in huge numbers, money that companies lose when they have to rehire people they lose from a maternity leave. So that makes me even more excited about what I'll be doing.
You are on trend, as they say.
Yes.
You've done good work, Robin.
Thanks.
That's great. Let's go to Bob. Bob says he has a quick one. And we've got to get you unmuted.
There we go.
There you go. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Super.
Yeah, I've been busy. I've been traveling quite a bit, and I think in the traveling, I've really still been trying to dissect my niche. I knew that was just going to be the hardest issue for me. Everything else, I've gone through all the modules, understand the whole process, but what I'm really finding is that it's becoming more clear to me that I just need to find the people that I stand in front of to speak, that I could say, these are my people. These are the people I feel comfortable with. These are the people I'm passionate about serving. And the education market really kind of seems to churn well for me for some reason. In the last couple of days, I've got a call here in about 20 minutes. So I'm going to have to get off, but I've booked about $15,000 worth of, two $7,500 engagements in the education market, which is pretty good in that market.
No. Remember, Bob, education never pays $7,500.
Right.
No, the most you'll ever get there is like $2-3 grand.
Right.
You must have forgotten that little piece of advice from the outside world.
Right. So
good for you. That is fantastic.
Yeah. And so I don't know, in the course, I would just ask this real quick. I don't know, in the course of the people that you've consulted with, I know that there is a ceiling on the education market versus like a corporate market, but where is that ceiling per se in the ed market, do you think?
We're going to let you find that out.
Well, I'm going to push it.
So Steve Bolar, who's actually a former high school principal and district superintendent, came through our program, did a tremendous amount of speaking in the education market, and he's now getting $7,500, 10 grand, because he's talking to the right people with the right language.
Right.
Now, does that mean you're doing a school assembly for 10 grand? No, but
right.
You're elevating your sites
right.
to a higher level value prop, higher level audience, higher level venue, and that's where that money is.
Right, so, and the nice thing is that
you're on your way to finding it. I can't tell you how many education speakers, no, I can't get any more than $3 grand. It's like, well, you're wrong, but that's okay. They're so married to that limitation that
right.
they don't do what you're doing. Talk to the right people with the right language, quote the right number, the higher number, and get it.
Well, and I want to thank Teresa too. She shot over her needs discovery conversation with me, and so I'm going to kind of use that. I've got my own, but I wanted to kind of compare it to what you guys are using, and so I'll be on this call here in 20 minutes, and hopefully we'll grab another one. The nice thing about the ed market is it's not hard to find the buyers. They're very easy to find. So, so that was my short win.
Nice, very, very nice. Okay, I think that's it for, unless I missed somebody or if you're spontaneously inspired, let's go to Dave. And then we'll get to our question queue, and then we'll let Teresa do her magic in the Teresa room.
I apologize for being late. When I turned my computer on, it was going through an update, and I couldn't link up.
No worries.
This weekend, I participated in a Toastmaster speaking competition. If I had placed in first place, I would have gone to the international competition. And that's a very, very exciting win because it's marketing material galore for speaking credibility. Very few people reach that. I was against 9 extraordinarily talented speakers, and I placed 4th. But it was a win nevertheless. My wife and I picked up David Brooks, not the New York Times David Brooks, but a professional motivational speaker named David Brooks, who won the international speaking competition in 1990. And when it was over, he kept a score sheet for all of the contestants, and he had me ranked as 4th and told me what I could have done to get into the top 3. He said to me, "I'm so glad that I don't have to compete now because the bar is so much higher than when he competed."
Wow.
And he gave me the link, and I looked at his video of the speech he gave in 1990 to win the top prize. He wouldn't have made it past the club level or the area level of competition, the 2 lowest levels of this progressive. It was
28 years is a long time.
It was corny. It was rough. It was cliched filled. His hand gestures were just terrible. And but no regrets because I was under the pressure of competing against some really talented people.
That's great.
I raised my bar. I have to raise my bar. It's that simple. So,
I love it.
yeah.
I love it. And you know, the better your program gets, this isn't required, but of course we always look to improve everything in our business, right? The performance, the delivery, the content, the marketing, the sales, the fees. But it's totally a factor, right? Because you're going to start seeing other speakers or videos or websites or all this and go, I'm better than this guy. Whoa, this guy's making 12 grand. I'm better than this guy. Whoa, he's 15 grand. What the hell's wrong with me? So it's another aspect of being a student of the game.
Yeah. But by the way, my speech was an inspirational speech, but it involved the story of Viktor Frankl, who survived the Holocaust, the great psychological theorist of the 20th century. And the guy who won the competition was talking about the doll he got for the frozen princess doll that he got for his 4-year-old daughter. And he had the whole place blubbering with this touching story about his daughter's birthday party. It was tough competition.
I got you. All right. Well, good job. Well done. And let's have that elevate all the other stuff that you're working on.
Yeah.
And of course, it's Tuesday, so the lawn guys here. I'm just going to go close this door. We'll turn to our first question, which is Mark. And your question is about the hospital and the healthcare industry. So I read the question, but just share for the benefit of the group and also to refresh me because I saw it when it came in. But beyond your background and expertise and experience, what aspects of that raised a little red flag saying, hospitals and healthcare. So what was the clue or the indicator that said, you know what, hospitals and healthcare might be a good place to start?
Well, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm trying to couch it in the idea that this financial literacy education falls within the wellness number, so to speak. And in my experience, I've had, from custodial staff to nurses to doctors having to come to me. So I know there's the need there. And then there's just that culture of continuing education. So I thought they would be open to the message of this. That's kind of how I landed there.
So
also, one other thing is, I wrote a white paper and I sent it to a recently retired hospital CEO to get his comments. And he said they did provide some sort of financial literacy training. He thought it would be helpful. He says the challenge is getting people to do it voluntarily. And that's part of changing the culture to not make it this negative thing, but really, a team building thing. And, if you're a leader, you'll start this conversation.
Right. So I think there's a couple of things to think about and explore. And I'm glad that you had this conversation initially, because this is, I saw you ask in the chat about, well, what's this AIR conversation? AIR conversation is going to someone in your buyer persona who's sitting in your buyer's chair, telling them what you're looking to do, and then asking for their advice, insights, and recommendations. And this is in the training, module 3, module 4, that neighborhood. So anytime that you can ask someone who's in a position of authority, who knows that market forwards, backwards, and upside down, says, here's what I'm trying to accomplish. I would love your advice, insights, and recommendations. They can help you sort of fine tune the pros, the cons, some of the messaging, what's effective, what's not effective, what would you add, what would you change, what would you take away. So beyond that one conversation, I like that decision, and I've got a ton of clients that are in hospitals and healthcare, and some are RNs and some are doctors and some are neither. But if the value prop is there and it's relevant, and like you're saying, you've got the right names to drop and the right stories to tell of kind of your track record of helping people like this make smart decisions in your area of expertise, it is definitely merits further investigation and validation, and it may very well be a fantastic place to start. But I wouldn't base that on just the track record and just having a few conversations. I would just encourage you to have more conversations, and then you'll see some patterns emerge, and you'll also see if this is an area where where you resonate with them, and more importantly where they resonate with you. So I can even ask you that now. I mean, do you find is that your tribe? Is that your peeps? Is that the folks that you resonate with intellectually, psychologically, emotionally, other ways?
It's interesting because, like I said, the hospital employees run the gamut. And when they're coming to me, whether it's a doctor, and the doctors are usually ones who made bad investments, and even nurses, make good money, but they've made these bad decisions. They can make $120,000 a year, and they're just overwhelmed with debt. So I'd say I've made connections with all levels. Now, how I will connect with these decision makers that I'm going to, all of this is new. What I've learned is being an attorney, it's just such an insular area that I've not been part of the corporate world. So part of my question to you is, the solutions I offer are less stress, more productivity, less turnover, those type of things. So are there other industries where that message would resonate, where people are trying to build that culture?
Well, so yes, this is like, well, who wants good leadership, or who wants a good sales culture? So the answer is yes, but the specificity, and that's why I'm asking you about, you can take this anywhere, but in order to take it somewhere, you have to make a decision. So we talked about this a couple of weeks ago about this, or even last week, I think it was, define and decide, and that there's no decision is permanent. But if you keep saying, well, it could be these guys, or it could be those guys, or it could be the third guys, and we don't activate anything, then we'll never know. So part of the answer is getting into action and getting in front of these guys to have these kind of conversations like you had, and test the waters and validate that, that they do want it, they need it. This is something that's a priority for them. I think with the investment angle, you're definitely going after people that are in a high net worth bracket. So doctors make a ton of sense, but there's lots of other high net worth professions and professional associations and vertical markets where you could take this. So I'm not to screw you up, but I'm just saying, okay, what if this were high tech executives that have multi-million-dollar salaries and stock options and, bonuses, and they got money coming out their ears, but they're not necessarily sophisticated with how they use that money, and they don't necessarily protect themselves the way that you would advise them to protect themselves. That could be it too. But do a little bit of investigation, some more investigation, and then you get to decide. You get to decide, hey, is this path worth going down, even if it's for a defined period of time? If it is, let's get some checks in the door. If we try that and it's just, hitting brick wall after brick wall, then the evidence says, you know what, it's probably not these guys.
Okay.
Let's base that on evidence. I'm telling the lawyer here. Let's base this on evidence and not on, maybe kind of sort of hoping.
Okay. The other thing I'm pursuing, only because I made a couple of connections over the last month, are outside HR companies.
Okay.
As an added benefit for their clients, going into the sponsorship type of idea. I met a couple at a couple of conferences. gave them an initial report or executive summary, and they were interested. So I've sent follow-ups with them just to see if there's any traction there as well.
So part of that HR value prop would be having this kind of bolt-on value from you.
Right.
Got it. Yeah, no, that could be great too. That would be either a partnership or a, very tight referral relationship or whatever it might be. But I think that's a good venue to explore as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Well done. So Ron, I'm wrestling with my tagline and positioning statement. Lay it on me. I'm ready.
Well, I'm wrestling with my tagline and positioning statement. I got a couple of different things working. My business is productive out. For over 20 years, I've been a mediator, a marriage coach, a workplace trainer. That's productive outcomes. My books are Play Nice in Your Sandbox series. Play Nice in Your Sandbox at work is the first one, home is the second, church is going to be the third, and school is going to be the fourth. So I own the domain Play Nice in Your Sandbox.
Yeah.
I just recently bought ronprice.com. So part of it, I'm trying to figure out how all that fits together. Let me confuse you just a little more, and then I'll turn you loose. I teach CPR, conflict prevention and resolution. CPR.
And so the CPR concept is baked into the Sandbox books.
Well, kind of, sort of, maybe ought to be. That's part of my dilemma.
Okay.
And I've got the Play Nice. The Play Nice is a model. It's a system, an 8-step. The play is 4 ways to prevent conflict. The nice is 4 ways to resolve conflict. So
okay.
Who am I and what am I doing? Somebody help this boy.
Well, so very similar advice to what I gave Mark, which is the good news is you get to decide. And the bad news is you get to decide. So
What I'm paying you for, David.
Well, you're paying me to help you make the decision. I can't decide for you.
Right.
So,
right.
And this is very similar to Fred's situation, right? Because Fred came back with a diverse background, lots of skills, genuinely lots of skills. He didn't just say he had a lot of skills. He has a lot of skills. You have a lot of skills in these multiple areas. And what Fred worked on, and maybe I'll even throw this to Fred for a minute, is we said, okay, what's the sharp tip of the arrow? What is in the service of your primary value proposition, right? Talking about Ron's situation, what can we bring in from Play Nice from the Sandbox? What can we bring in from CPR? What can we bring in from the world of mediation, et cetera, et cetera? What can we bring in from all these other things? But then what's the wrapper? What's the roof over the house? So you gave me 5 rooms in the house. I said, okay, well, we got a nice bedroom, we got a kitchen, we got a bathroom, we got a living room with a nice 55-inch TV. That's fantastic. Thing needs a roof. So, Fred, I know this is both an intellectual decision that you have made and an emotional one, because the thinking might be, oh gosh, I'd hate to leave that behind, or I'd hate to leave this behind. Remember, all the rooms are still under that house.
Right.
But you don't want to confuse people and say, hey, I do 5 things, I do 12 things. So, Fred, how did you address the decision-making process that Ron is facing?
Well, the decision-making process is, what value can I bring to the client, and how, and I've come to realize that all of those other skill sets that I'm confident that I have that don't have to be put in the display case all at once. In other words, hey, you like this diamond ring? I've got something in the back that you're really going to love, right? And you keep it in your bag, but wherever your core strength lies, and that's what I'm keying in on, is where is my core strength? Well, my core strength is teaching sales presentation skills and how to get to the ask, and how to, whether you're asking for the sale of a widget or an investment or whatever. And there's all of the other tricks in the bag, so to speak. I can access those and tailor them to fit in with that theme when necessary. I can't say, hey, this is everything that I do, because saying everything that you do just creates confusion. And the more specific, and again, I think being a great listener is critical to that, to uncover what the true need is and let the prospect talk about where their pain points are. And like you said, oh, would you like some help with that? I can help with that. This program, not only can we help improve your sales process, we can also bring in another component that's going to help with the leadership development within that department. So it's got because once you get in, I believe you establish yourself as an expert, and they're more receptive to any additional suggestions or recommendations that you might make in connection with their business.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I really love that analogy that Fred talked about with putting the one diamond ring in the case and then say, oh, well, this is the diamond. So what do? We sell diamond rings. Well, can I have a different setting? Can I get a bigger diamond, smaller diamond? What about engagement rings? Yeah, those are in the back. Yeah, we have that. But they come to you for the diamond ring. My analogy, now that I'm reminded of it, is imagine you're building an amusement park. And there's some amusement parks where the Ferris wheel is right by the front gate. And they're famous for their Ferris wheel. Now, when you go in there, yeah, there's a roller coaster, there's the water slide, there's the midway, there's the arcade games, all of that stuff is in there. A different amusement park does not have the Ferris wheel by the front gate. They've got their big fancy roller coaster at the front gate. Once someone comes for the roller coaster, with legendary roller coaster, right? Do they have a Ferris wheel? They have a merry-go-round, they have a water slide, they have all those things. So it's about what do you want to attract in the front gate that once they're in the house for that, then they go, oh, well, Ron, you could probably help us with this. And Ron, we have another problem with that. And Ron, is there a leadership angle to this CPR thing? And Ron, how about, does this apply to our sales process about play nice in the sandbox for salespeople? Yes. Funny you asked, just like Fred said. Yeah, I got that in the back, of course. But they come to you for that primary thing. And then we have the opportunity to upsell, cross-sell, do our needs analysis, have that diagnostic sales conversation, and then really help them with all the different things that we're able to help them with without confusing them on the front end. Imagine an amusement park that had like the 7 rides all by the front gate, and like they're all towering and conflicting and competing with each other. You're like, yeah, I'm not going, that looks a little scary. I'm not going into that crazy jumbled amusement park. So one thing at the front gate, and then once they're in, you can sell them what they need to be successful in these other related areas. So if I were to just take a flyer, just throw a dart on the dartboard, I think Play Nice in Your Sandbox is a strong enough brand where you could have a subset of things under that. So not only is it what it's in your book, but Play Nice in Your Sandbox can talk about, resolving conflict as a leader, resolving conflict as a salesperson, resolving conflict in a customer service situation. So the application of it can go several different places. Does that mean that you're now a customer service and leadership and team building and conflict and mediation and expert? No. Ron is known for Play Nice in Your Sandbox. I'll tell you why I like it. I like it because it's prospect language. And you get credit for doing that years ago, way before you came into this program. But people say, man, I wish I could get, this is what we talked about at the top of the call today. I wish, I want, I need. How many times have you heard a leader say, oh, I wish my guys would play better in the sandbox, or this one doesn't play well with others. This one doesn't play well in the sandbox. He's a great performer. He's a great contributor, but man, he pisses everybody off. And we don't know what to do, and he's causing all kinds of problems and morale, and people are quitting, and okay. So Play Nice in Your Sandbox, the application of that, or the rooms in the house, could be purely for conflict. It could be in the service of a leadership message. It could be in the service of a sales message. It could be in the service of a employee engagement or a culture message. So you're not scattered. You have a focused value prop with multiple investable opportunities, right? So it's depth with variety. That's the magic to having a well-integrated suite of products and programs. It's all under the roof of Play Nice in Your Sandbox. But then the variety is, well, tell me how you want to use that. Tell me who in your organization needs that. Oh, salespeople. We've done this with salespeople. In fact, maybe there's a program called Play Nice in Your Sandbox for sales. Maybe there's Play Nice in Your Sandbox for leaders. Maybe there's Play Nice in Your Sandbox for conflict or whatever. I know it's a conflict message to begin with, but that word for, where you're giving them the context and the application of it. So a sales team is like, oh my God, play nice in your sandbox for sales. That's exactly what we need. Why? Because I've said to myself, I wish my sales guys would play nice in the sandbox. And look, he put the name in the title, for sales. Well, I'm a sales VP. He's singing my song. If it's for leadership, and I'm the leadership development guru, I'm the CXO, C-level executive, man, my leadership team totally needs this play nice in the sandbox. We got egos, we got fights, we got turf wars, silos, craziness. These guys totally have to play nice in the sandbox for leaders. So I think there's your integrated product suite right there.
And thank you. And I'm taking notes. I'm getting this. I'll play the recording again as well.
Sure.
If we have time, I don't know how many other questions we have. I'm still hung up on a positioning statement versus a tagline and what the purpose. If you want to direct me to what module that's in, I'll be happy to.
So I posted that last week, and the template is super simple for that. We call it a verbal business card, more so than a tagline or a motto or something. But it's simply, I work with blank who want outcome and result. And I can tag you in that post in the group if you want to just revisit that. I posted a slide that I have in my live presentation, and it's a very, very simple but very, very powerful door opening, can opening conversation starter.
All right. If you would tag me on that, I will. I'll get to that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you all.
You bet. And speaking of the man of the hour, so Fred was very generous in giving an answer, and now Fred has a question.
Yeah, a couple of times I've run across companies when we've talked about coaching, and they said, "Oh, well, we brought Disney in, or we brought Dale Carnegie or John C. Maxwell. My brand is not at that level, and I'm not a Tony Robbins, so to speak. What's the best way to address that rather than shrinking back and saying, well, my brand's not going to mean anything to them if they've already done work with Maxwell or Disney?"
Fantastic. So let's even unpack the question, right? What could my brand possibly mean to them? The answer is nothing, right? Now, do they have a problem you can solve, right? So we flip it from a Fred-centric worry, like, oh, I'm not big enough, I'm not Disney, I'm not Dale Carnegie, I'm not John Maxwell. No, of course you're not. But do you know their problem better than they know it themselves? Yes. Now, to me, the huge green flag is, oh my God, you brought in Disney? So here's what I would do in a sales conversation or an email or a LinkedIn message. I would establish the identity of that buyer as, well, you're obviously someone who believes in ongoing professional development. I saw that you're very proud of your connection with the Disney Institute, that you brought them in for some work. Looks like you did some training with John Maxwell and his organization. My clients, my best clients, here's where you transfer the identity in the conversation. Mm-hmm. My best clients not only want the solutions and strategies that I provide, but they are total believers in lifelong learning and professional development to make their people better. Not just once, but month after month, year after year. So obviously, as an executive, as a training manager, as a CMO, as a CFO, as a CEO that truly believes with your wallet that personal and professional development is important to your success and your team's success, both personally and organizationally, this is why I'm reaching out. Good. So you transfer the identity that, well, you must believe in professional development. You must believe in ongoing, use the magic words, repetition, reinforcement, application, right? And don't even worry about, I'm no Disney. This is like companies that have hired Accenture or KPMG, these big global consulting firms. And then, folks like us show up and go, well, I'm no KPMG, but I think I can help you. That's not a position of strength, right? So to me, they've invested before. They wouldn't be talking to you if that all worked out peaches and cream and all the problems went away forever. The fact that they are talking to you or they're interested in talking to you on some level means that they haven't yet quite solved it. They're urgently pursuing the solution because they paid big dollars typically, especially if it's Disney or one of these big consulting firms. And so to me, that's a huge green flag that these guys are serious. These guys get it, and they know that to improve their results, they need outside expertise, not just once like a hot bath, but every day, every week, ongoing repetition, reinforcement, application. So to me, it's a door opener, and it's an identity builder that you guys believe in bringing in the best. That's why I'm calling. Now, they don't even have to ever have heard your name, but you guys obviously believe in bringing the best, bringing in the best to help you with these critical issues. That's why I'm calling. That's why I'm emailing. That's why I'm reaching out.
Would I go so far as to ask them, you brought Disney in, was there some arena, some area that was not addressed by Disney that needs to be covered now?
Once you get in there to any sort of initial conversation, remember those 7 buyer persona questions are also perfect for a first conversation. What have you tried to solve this before? I saw some references to Disney and how that program, so where did that program hit the mark, and where do you feel that program may have fallen a little bit short? Not necessarily even when you guys were active in the program, but now, a year after, 2 years after, what aspects of that program didn't stick? What aspects of that program do you not yet have fully integrated? Right? What aspects of that program do you wish was the magic wand, and it really didn't turn out to be the magic wand that you were hoping?
Got it.
Because with all of our clients, right, if you have a sophisticated buyer for speaking or coaching or training or consulting, we are not their first rodeo. We are not the first outside resource they've brought in. It's much easier, by the way, if we are not the first outside resource that they've brought in. Yeah. So when you say, well, what and where did that program, what were some of the wins, and where, what do you wish that program would have done a little bit better, or some of the lasting impact of that program that you were hoping would last, but maybe didn't last as long as you had thought. And then that opens up, well, and what else? And why didn't that work? And how long has that been a problem? And, just ask all of these investigative journalist type questions about them and their situation and sort of where they are today relative to that investment that they made. And when people say, if this ever comes up, and it rarely does, people go, well, what if they say, well, you're not Disney? It's like, well, no, you're right. Very, very observant that I'm not Disney. Yeah. But I will tell you that my program is a beautiful supplement and complement to what you've already invested in. And it very well might be that missing ingredient that makes that investment pay off even further. So now you're not just getting Disney, you're getting Disney plus me. And you're not saying you're better. You're not saying you're worse. You're not coming in inferior, superior. You're saying 1 + 1 = kaboom. So you've already invested in Disney, right? My program, if you find out it's customer service, leadership, creativity, whatever, right? My program is very, very likely to make that training even more valuable, because now they're going to have a new skill set and a new tool set to overlay on top of that foundation that you already invested in with Disney.
Got it. Okay.
So it's the CSI. CSI is the acronym for that, which is complement and supplement what they've done in-house. CSI, complement. This is a beautiful complement and supplement to what you're doing in-house or what you've already done in-house. So we always position not as competitors, not as antagonists. We always position ourselves as force multipliers. You've already invested X. How about we take that to 3X? You've already done this. How about we take that over the finish line?
We're not at ground zero.
We're not. No, exactly. Yeah. And you say, my best, here's another little talk track. My best clients have invested in a lot of other training programs before. And they've invested in the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that's always going to get a laugh, especially if that's the person that brought them in. The good, the bad, and the ugly. But the best programs that they've invested in are the ones that stick and the ones that last. They go, oh my God, that Disney thing didn't stick. Oh my God, that Dale Carnegie thing didn't last. It was a 10-week course on public speaking or on sales, and it just didn't work. Well, no, of course not. Because it was a nice hot bath for 10 weeks, and then they turned the water off. Why? No repetition, no reinforcement, no application. My program is different. Boom.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Julie is up next. How to juggle multiple pitches when more than one company has the same date in mind. Oh, man, what a great problem to have. So talk to me about that.
Well, I've been talking to someone for a couple of weeks who wanted to plan around a date that I'm already going to be in that city. And she was trying to put together some other people to do a multi-sponsored event. And she's having trouble getting other people involved. She's trying to get a committee to decide something. And so it's not like she can just send a deposit or say, yes, I want you definitely, and be able to hold the date. So while she's still working on trying to get that together, I felt like I needed to let her know that I understood what it's like trying to get, a decision by committee, and that I'm hopeful something will work out. And at the same time, I also need to explore other options for that date, and, want to keep her at the top of the list and to just have her let me know when she knows something.
This is perfect. This doesn't get, no, it sounds terrible. It doesn't sound okay. It's a great situation, but that's not how to handle it. Okay. So this is what we call in the marketing world genuine scarcity, right? There's one day on the calendar. If you're talking about June 25th, there is only one June 25th. And it either goes to this one or to that one. So at that point, you say, listen, I have a hold on that date from another client. That one hasn't come through. Yours hasn't come through either. I'm just telling you right now that in order for me to do the program that we talked about on that date, you guys will have to move fast because I have to honor this other situation that's in play. And if you don't take it, they will. Now, okay. I know what everyone here is thinking, going, man, suddenly I'm booked 365 days a year. Every date I'm going to use this trick. But do not use it as a trick. Use it as genuine ethical urgency. And so you say, I'd love to do that date, but unfortunately, so have you asked them if they can move their date? Can they flex it?
He wanted to do it because I was already going to be there that date. And
so do it the day before, do it the day after. That's no big deal. So block booking when you're in one geographical location. Like if I'm flying to New Mexico and I'm going to be in Santa Fe on the 25th, I will try and find a program for the 24th or the 26th. I'm not going to sell another program for the 25th, but that's already done. So the block booking is like the day before, flying a day early, the day after, stay a day extra, one trip, 2 gigs, 2 checks. That's beautiful. But I wouldn't try and split the same day because that's going to always conflict.
Right. Yeah, I don't want to split the same day. I did tell her that there are many other dates or other events. She was trying to plan it around Pride Month, which is in June.
Okay.
And specifically in this market, they have a Pride festival that's over certain dates. So it was sort of tying into something. So I did tell her that if it doesn't work out, I said, I'm going to keep you at the top of my list. And if for some reason it doesn't work out, there are all these other events coming up in October or whenever that we could do something with
who's
more.
The other prospect that is sniffing around those dates?
She didn't tell me. Oh, you mean for me?
For you.
Yeah, I've just been sending out letters. I mean, I don't want to like sit on my hands for that date because I'm going to
No, I get that. But do you have interest from another person that says, Julie, we need that same day?
No. But
I'm not sure what the conflict is. What's the conflict then?
Because I am still trying to get other gigs for that date. Like I'm going to be
so first come, first served. Right, but if it's like Pride Week or something like that, that's 5 days. So you can be there at the beginning, you can be there in the middle, you can be there at the end. It's not like, it has to be on June 23rd, right? So you've got wherever that trip takes you, it's the day before, the day in the middle, the day after. If you have to stay 2 days to pick up an extra $7,500, I would stay 2 days, watch some Netflix in the hotel room, visit the city, whatever you want to do, kill some time, and then do the second program 2 days later. I wouldn't try and, I wouldn't try and send multiple pitches out for June 25th. I would try and get one stabilized and get one secured and then say, I've got the day before, I've got the day after, or just start sniffing around multiple days that week. So if they all say yes, then you're booked on the 24th, the 25th, and the 26th. But you're almost kind of setting yourself up for trouble if you keep hammering on that 25th. Sell one on the 25th, and then let's bookend it.
Mm-hmm.
And then use the urgency, use the genuine urgency to say, listen, I've got, that's a big week, and I'm talking to multiple different meeting planners and multiple different events. So the sooner the sooner I can save that date for you. And, the deposit holds the date, and then we're off to the races, then I'm yours. They don't like this uncertainty any more than you do.
Right. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The magic of block booking. That's blocking a week, by the way, not blocking the day. You want to have program 1, program 2, program 3 somewhat within range, but don't, you'll just frustrate yourself trying to sell the same day to multiple people.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Christy, regarding pricing, 2 things. Better to go with the 4,500, 5,500, 5,000, 6,000. Is there a psychology with the 500? Are you not paying attention to the online training?
I am.
So it's always better to put a 500 on the end of it. The reason is because then you're not using the big scary T word, like $7,000, $5,000, right? 7,500, easy. It's cute, like a little puppy. So when you end the price with 100, it takes the terror out of the number. So you'll actually sell more at 7,500 than you will at 7,000. What's your fee? $7,000, right? 7,500, boom, easy, done. It's in the hundreds. You'll also sell more at 5,500 than you will at $5,000. So that 100 it rolls off the tongue better, I think, and it's just a friendlier, fuzzier number.
I needed to hear it because somebody pushed back on him, not a potential client, just a friend I was talking to, and I didn't have the words to come back and explain it other than I thought there was some psychology to it, so I needed to hear it.
There is.
I'm a verbal learner, so.
Totally.
Okay.
I don't think so. Just looking back on my own fee schedule, even before I sort of codified this, it was, so I started out at, we're not gonna talk about when I very first started out, but when I started getting serious, I started out at 3,500, and then I quickly moved to 4,500, spent a lot of years there. Then I went to 55, then I skipped 65, that numbers just seemed weird to me, and then 75, and now it's somewhere, depending on what they want, between 75 and 95. I've never gone to the 1,000 number, and I think when you talk to buyers, that number sends a little bit of a quake down their spine, as opposed to 7,500. It just also seems more logical. Like, there must be a reason that she's only charging 7,500. Then what you don't want to do is you don't want to take that to some crazy extreme, like, well, I charge $7,779. Like, no.
And 12 cents.
Yeah, it's not like the Walmart pricing, but like the 97 cents will help you sell more if it's 97 cents versus $1. But there is the psychology of saying the word 100 versus saying the word 1,000.
Okay, and I have a follow-up
Sure.
to that, if that's okay. So in that, I'm trying to put my packages together, and I know we've talked a lot about that, but now that I'm finally figuring out like keynote, breakout with coaching, multi-session breakouts over a course of time with coaching. I don't know if it's necessarily the packaging that you would recommend, but maybe some key elements that you would recommend for value add, but also kind of if I could hear that sales talk again. I know it's better to kind of, obviously we're prescribing, but how would we walk into, say, for example, yeah, I'm interested. And I think I'm asking because I have this conversation coming up with my client that I'm already booked with, and I'm trying to figure out with their sales team, what is the best way to keep the behavior change going and the learning going when they're a sales team and she's given me, they don't have much time. So
fantastic.
Pardon?
So here it is. There's a couple different flavors of it, and I'll give you both or all three or however many come out of my mouth. The first one is simply asking the question, Susan, I got to ask you a question. How long would you like the impact of our program to last? And they're going to give you like a Scooby-Doo, like, well, what do you mean? Well, we're going to have a fantastic day together. right? We're going to do the keynote or the workshop or the seminar. And then after that, once people leave the building, how long would you like the positive impact of that program to last? And they will say one of two things. They will say, both of which are naive. One, they will say forever. I would like it to last forever. Okay, cool. Second one is, well, at least until next year's meeting, at least until next year's conference, next year's sales meeting, next year's whatever. So you say, well, Susan, I got to ask you another question. Going back to last year's meeting, do you feel that that program, the programs that you had there, are they still being used today? Are they still, do you feel the impact lasted now 12 months into the future? No, probably not. Susan, I don't want that to happen to you again. So would it make sense for us to discuss some options for ongoing repetition, reinforcement, and application so that your people get maximum value from the event and afterwards? Yeah, that'd be great. Like, what do you have in mind? And that's when you take out the menu. So we could do some follow-up webinars. We could do some coaching. I've got this mentorship program that we could offer to people. Even on the small side, if you had a book, for example, people say, well, would it make sense to offer people a copy of my book? And then you sell 200-300 books with that. So everything is in the service of ongoing repetition, reinforcement, application. What will they do after they leave the building? Exactly what you said, to keep the learning going, keep the transformation going, and make sure that this program that we're doing, collaborative language, this program that we're doing together is the one that sticks and lasts. Maybe not forever, but at least until next year's meeting and hopefully way beyond. So people have sold books, they've sold webinars, they've sold follow-up coaching, they've sold a video series. Here's a fantastic idea that I gave to one of my clients a couple years ago. He totally ran with it. He says he shoots 12 5-minute videos, evergreen. They're always the same. He shoots them once, then there are links, private links on YouTube. And he says, why don't I send your folks a monthly 5-minute video and that 5-minute video lesson. And in that 5-minute video lesson, I'm also going to include electronically, there's going to be a manager's guide that has 5 to 7 questions about what we talk about in the video. And you'll get a second PDF, which is a participant guide of how the folks in the room are actually going to implement and apply that month's teaching points. So now, 3 things: a 5-minute video, a 1-page PDF with the manager questions, and a 1-page PDF with the participant questions. The thinking is, hey guys, let's grab some pizza, let's go into the conference room, let's play the May video from Christy. If I'm the manager, I've got my manager's guide. They all have a copy of the participant guide, so I'm now prompting them to answer questions and to fill out application steps. How will you use this? How will this impact you? What difference do you see this making? What's your very next opportunity to implement this new skill? Well, it's my next one-on-one. It's my next sales conversation. It's the next time I have to be part of a team. It's the next time I'm doing whatever, right? When I'm going out to the construction site and I'm giving some tough feedback to one of my direct reports who screwed up a bathroom. Okay, well, right? When's my next opportunity to use, to implement? So everything in that follow-up, it's a 5-minute video lesson, 1-page leader guide, 1-page participant guide. You sell that for like 10 grand. Even if the speech doesn't cost 10 grand, speech can be 7,500, and you say that I've got a year-long professional development program that's delivered electronically with videos, with leaders' guides, and with participant materials, 1 page, and that's only 10K for the whole year for the whole team. It's a no-brainer. Oh my God, yes. So now it's like 7,500 speaking fee, 10K year-long development program. You took a 7,500 thing, you made it 17,500. So, but you can do webinars, you can do all kinds of things. What else did we do by way of the follow-up? An easy add-on is like 30, 60, 90-day follow-up, conference call, coaching call, if you will. Another really easy add-on is email access to Christy for X number of days after the program to make sure they implement, kind of like a hotline, right? Emergency, email Christy your question. And then that's another investable opportunity is the email support. We did video series, we did webinar, we did conference call. What else am I not thinking of? I mean, it really answers the question that you were already brilliant at asking, which is how do we make this ongoing support, ongoing implementation? How do we make sure this program is the one that sticks and the one that lasts? They may even have some ideas, but at least coming to the table with these 4 or 5 options, here's what 90% of these folks are going to say. Wow, that's a great idea. I never thought about that. Well, duh, right? If your problem is retention, if your content, retaining the content, implementing the content, you say, I don't want you guys to have an awesome conference and a feel-good day and everyone leaves pumped up and supercharged, and then a week later, 10 days later, 2 weeks later, everything goes back to the same way it was before. Man, that would be a tragedy. How can we, collaborative language, how can we make sure that doesn't happen this time? Well, Christy, what do you have in mind? Option, option, option.
And that's awesome because we've actually had the initial conversation. She's open. I haven't, her conflict coming back was, I can't have you come out for an hour and on a sales meeting. And I was like, I really don't want to come out. That's going to cost you more.
Right.
But how can I deliver it? Because I was thinking a Zoom call, with salespeople with busy schedules, they're not going to jump on for 15 minutes. So I was thinking, do I do a coaching call kind of like you with the Q&A beforehand?
Sure.
And it's recorded, but I love the video series. I don't know if I can make it happen in this amount of time.
Well, sell it first. You can then make it happen once you have the check.
Exactly. No, those are great ideas. I really like the videos.
Can I see the videos? No. Trust me, they're awesome. They're awesome.
She calls me to come speak and train her folks. So it's a good kind of playing ground to figure this out. But
for sure.
She can't see the videos. They don't exist yet. All right. Thank you. That's exactly what I was looking for. Thank you.
You bet. What else? And Morgan, how are we doing in Teresa's room? You want to give them like a 10-minute heads up, 10-minute warning, see if they can wrap up over there. And then I'm happy to hang out. Other questions, anything else I can help with? Dave.
I don't know if this is going to be helpful to everybody, but I consulted legal counsel about an issue, and I just want to share it because it might be helpful. There's a book that I want to use for one of my programs as kind of a general guide. The book sold well. It's out of print. I contacted the author tried to contact the author by phone, by LinkedIn email, and by Facebook text message, and haven't gotten a response. I want to ask him permission to republish the book on an on-demand basis and use it. He said what I need to do if I want to use that book in detail, and for example, there's a questionnaire that you take, find out what kind of procrastinator you are. It's the premise for the whole program.
Okay.
What the attorney advised me is send a certified letter to the author, outline in detail how you plan to use this, and that you'd like to do it with his blessing, and would he be interested in allowing me to publish it on an on-demand basis, sharing whatever profit I realize by selling copies of it.
So this book is a self-published book or no?
No, it was published by a group called New Harbinger, which does a lot of self-help and therapy books.
So probably the publisher has the rights. If it's out of print, then the rights would revert to the publisher. The publisher may have sold them back or given them back to the author, but the other avenue is to check with the publisher.
I did make an initial contact. I'm waiting for a return call and on that. But the bottom line is what the attorney said is you can pretty much use anything if you use it with attribution, and if you've offered to get his input on how he wants you or not use it. And he said, this guy can't sue you when you've offered to make him more money by publishing a book that's out of print now. And he said, as long as you're giving attribution, you're on solid ground. So for whatever it's worth, that's what I learned over last week.
So legally, and again, I'm not a lawyer, and we should all check with our own lawyer, but that makes sense to me. The only danger with that is that you also don't want to sublimate your thought leadership under his, because then it becomes kind of like a book report presentation.
Yeah.
It's not what Dave thinks, it's what this guy thinks.
Absolutely correct. But it's an outstanding format for small group program, which I would significantly supplement with my own stuff.
Yeah.
But
I think if it's as your guy said, if it's all this comes from this book, from this author, this exercise, this worksheet comes from this book and this author, that'll I would be careful not doing too much of that. But again, not a lawyer, don't play one on TV. Because there is such a thing as like fair use. And doing this guy's seminar, for example, that would not be cool. So I've had clients, for example, that have original content, and they've done it for a company on a couple of different occasions, and then word gets back to my client, oh yeah, we love your material. We use it for in-house training all the time.
Yeah.
And so now she has a legal agreement with a licensing clause. That's like, unintentional licensing, meaning they've stolen her stuff and they're using it in-house, running wild with it, and they really should have licensed that. I'm not even sure if they attribute it or don't attribute it, but when they take her program lock, stock, and barrel and start reteaching it to their own people, that is not cool. So she was on the other side of that equation, where this company had sort of borrowed her material a little bit too liberally, and then she had to go back to them and go, no. And now her speaking agreement includes this licensing clause that should you use this extra material, these fees will kick in, blah, 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 blah. So just be careful.
Thanks.
But good job pursuing it, and hopefully you'll get the green light from the guy or the publisher, and then you're totally in the clear.
I hope so. I would love to understand his reluctance to even respond, but who knows? Make your best effort.
Right. Exactly right. All right. What else? What else for anyone else? Other questions? Liz has been quiet. Liz is kind of looking green today. Looking a little bitty green, but that's okay. There you are. Much better than the old green screen. Let's get you off mute just so you can say hi.
Hi, everyone. I am Liz Boston. Just starting, so I was trying to listen.
You're just taking in the whole fire hose experience, right? It's all coming at you. So good.
We're learning a lot.
Awesome. Really, really great. Good to have you. I saw Julie's hand and then tweet.
I haven't totally formulated this because it just popped in my head as you said anybody else. But you gave us some great lead-in LinkedIn or cold call phone scripts. Many of them are sort of geared to associations where you're trying to find the right person who makes decisions about speakers for a conference, for example, or when you say, I speak to groups of bankers. So is there a really easy way to sort of crunch that down to one company? Or I work with people who manage the diversity and inclusion programs. So
you wouldn't just send that in cold. The cold approach is always kind of like the least common denominator. So there would have to have been some sort of trigger event or some sort of, maybe you saw a blog post, you saw a press release, you read something in their annual report, they showed up in USA Today, Wall Street Journal, Diversity Magazine, some new initiative. You wouldn't just say, hey, randomly, who wants some diversity? Because you're trying to boil the ocean there. But based on a trigger event, you can say, hey, I just saw in the Wall Street Journal that you're wrestling with A, B, and C. This is what I do. If a conversation about your situation would be valuable, would be happy to chat with you for a few minutes. Then put your phone number. So it is very specific. It is very much about some sort of external condition that you're observing, or some news item, or some other reason for the outreach. And then it's a high value offer to invite them to a conversation if that would be valuable for them. And some will say no thanks, and some will ignore you, and some will jump on the phone faster than you make your head spin, going, oh my God, thank God you called.
Okay, what if the event is like National Pride Month or LGBTQ History Month, so that's perfectly valid trigger event, and say, but again, not just, hey, here's what I do, and this thing is coming up. What do you have planned for your employees during LGBTQ Pride Month, et cetera, et cetera? I have a variety of programs. If this is worth a short conversation, I'd be happy to chat with you. Notice that we're not begging. That language that I'm using there is very, very specific. So it's not, oh, I'd love to talk to you. I can't wait to get on the phone. It's if a conversation would be valuable to you, the conversation would be valuable, I'd be happy to. Not I'm dying to, not I can't wait, not please, please, please hire me, I'm desperate. But I'd be happy to have a quick conversation. So you're a peer, your time is valuable, you're coming in at their level or a little bit above, saying I'm an expert in this area. If you would like, you're not saying this with arrogance, but if you'd like to sit at the feet of one of the experts, I'd be happy to share a little bit of information with you. That's the psychology behind that, is I'd be happy to have a short chat if that would be valuable for you. So we're not begging, we're not knocking on doors, we're not showing up hat in hand going, please hire me. It's what do you have planned for this event? So Nurses Week, I think for our healthcare folks, either this week or last week was National Nurses Week. And so a lot of healthcare speakers and nursing speakers make a lot of money that week doing programs. They sent emails back in February and March and April saying, hey, what do you have planned for Nurses Week? Because they are doing things for Nurses Week, and they know that, just like you know that they're doing things for Pride. Because people really like the name of my program, does it make sense to say I have a highly customizable program called, like to give them the name of it, or is that too silly?
I would experiment. I would try some with and some without and see which you get a better response to. Right? Okay. There's no stock answer. It's always test and validate, test and validate.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And then Tweed, you had a question as well.
Well, actually, what I was doing, I was waving to Liz to welcome her into the program. So, anyway, hello.
There you go. All right. So no pending question right now.
No, I had a great conversation with Teresa a few minutes ago, and she's got me focused like a laser again. So, thank you much.
Awesome. All right, Teresa French, any parting words of wisdom before we cut these guys loose until Thursday?
Not today, other than, guys, keep up the good work. Each of you have made great strides, and don't stop with the action. Keep it up. That's money is made on the backside of conversations and action. That's my words for the day. You heard it here, folks. You heard it right here.
That's a mic drop right there. Mic drop.
And Liz, welcome to the program. You were in my room for just a little bit, and then you disappeared. So on Thursday, come see me. All right.
All right, team. Thank you. Keep up the great work. We'll talk soon.